All right, all right, all right. Welcome to the TheDnazChannel. You know we're back. And last week we spoke about black holes. We spoke about light and magnetism. And we're going to touch up on that stuff again today. But today we are going to talk more about vibration and frequency. That's right. We're going to learn about the absolute fundamental order of our universe, how it works at its core, right? As you know, in the beginning, God said there was the Word. And what does that mean? People think, oh, a literal word, the word that he's saying, what does it mean by the word? Well, I'm here to tell you what it means by the word. And what it means is when you speak, you create a disturbance of the medium. That disturbance is that is where all the particles bump. It is the pinch wrinkle in the ether. What do I mean by that? Well, I have to get a 3D model for you so you can see a toroidal field. You have to see what the toroidal field of the universe is, right? Again, it's going out and in. It is the inside out circle or a donut, toroidal field of the universe. And what happens there? It's the magnetic and dielectric field, right? When that is disturbed, okay, when that is disturbed, that will create light. So you got to think of like a pinch wrinkle in the universe creating light, right? So Einstein talked about this, Tesla talked about this. If you're talking about space time, what space is, it's the vacuum. Space is the vacuum, right? And um it doesn't have any properties except for what light is, right? Where light emits from, like the Big Bang, singularity. When it happened, at its core, it was just a bunch of potential, and then it broke out. Inertia, right? Inertia. So, and light is the rate of induction. The speed of light. It's not really a speed. It's the rate of induction when space is pinched, when the ether is pinched, and it creates vibration. Through that vibration, where things are, rubbing together, creating inertia, creating friction, right? That is what is creating light. That is what is creating the magnetism. That is the flow, right? Because scientists, they talk about waves, right? But waves of what, right? If they're going to say, oh, well, you know, everything is waves. Light is waves. This is all waves. That doesn't describe it. Waves of what? Waves is not what something is. It's what something does. Correct? Correct. Just like if you were to ask a scientist about energy, right? They'll tell you the ability to do work. That is a description. That is not what something is, right? So you have these fundamental things, and we give money to these scientists, and we tell them, oh yeah, we act like they're like the smartest people in the world, but they can't define simple answers. It's the simple answers where they have the trouble with. You hand them something complicated, they could tell you something complicated all day because they love to complicate the universe when the universe is simple, right? Because it makes them sound smarter. But go and ask them something simple, like what a field is, what a wave is, what energy is, right? They can't tell you that. They can't tell you that. So when they're talking about the dual slit experiment, where they're trying to tell you when you observe something, it's there. No. All right. They're trying to tell you what that is light. Light is their medium that they are measuring, right? Because you need a medium to measure. So light is that medium that they're measuring, right? And it's not that it goes one way or one way. It's where it emits, right? So when you have a light bulb, and a light bulb is a little vacuum, and in that vacuum, it's controlled where they have the two prongs. That is where they are creating a disturbance in the medium, which is the magnetic and dielectric field of the universe. They are creating a disturbance, a pinch wrinkle, a vibration, and light is emitting. When the ether, which if you look up, by the way, ether, the ether, AETHER, the ether was on the periodic table all the way up until the 1900s, 1920s or something like that. And they took it off. Tesla spoke about the ether. All the scientists around the world spoke about the ether, except, they wanted to go with this. They took it off the periodic table, and then they took out Tesla, and then because he wanted to give wireless free energy, and then they took it over, and General Electric was made, and they sell it to you. But really, if you look about, Tesla invented so many things. These weren't very intricate things. It was very simple. He knew how simple the world was. He knew you could put a light bulb in the ground and it would light up because the magnetic field of the universe is always flowing. And as long as there is a disturbance, light is able to be emitted, right? So you have the prongs, you have the vacuum in the light bulb. In there, the metals in there are what are metals help from the magnetism, help the disturbance of the medium and create light. Light's the medium. Create disturbance of the ether, and light is not emitted. It doesn't travel. It is how do you say? It is inducted right there. Light is it is created right there because it's at the spot that you are creating that pinch wrinkle, that you are creating that disturbance. That is where it is emitting. So let's go to vibration more with your words, right? In the beginning, God said there was the word, right? When you are speaking, you are disturbing the medium, right? And even Tesla would describe it as he would describe light as just sound waves. Because really sound is everything. Sound, when you create a pitch, even pitches we can't hear, those pitches come from disturbing that medium. And then you have the waves, like radio waves, like sound waves, right? How big they are, how long they are. You have wavelength, you have the trough, right? You have the amps and the frequency. So how big the waves are, how many times, how many waves there are, how rapidly they go, right? All that matters, and that's how we measure it. That's how we measure how energy is being created right there from the disturbance it makes of the magnetic and dielectric field that is already there. It's where 0 point energy comes from. And if you look at a magnet under a ferrocell, you will see in the center, you see the toroidal field in the center is like a black hole. It's the same thing we see in a black hole right down on Earth, as above, so below. You will see the center of it because that is where everything is. It's like everything's like just like a vacuum, And that's why we figured this out. Once we figured out gravity and the vacuum and all that, we figured out science, and science blew up, and we had a giant revolutionary age where science just took off because we figured it out. If you go back to the 1800s, all the text, look at Heaviside, look at Steinmetz. All right, these are scientists that you should be looking up because they were behind all this. They worked with Tesla. Okay, Tesla is just one of the big names, but there were so many other scientists at that time creating. And we used to have these world fairs, right? You can look up the Chicago World Fair. They were everywhere where people would come here and travel. They had these amazing cities, beautiful, giant cities that they would have these world fairs at, and everybody from around the world would come and they would do science and show their inventions, right? They would do all this, and everybody in the world can see it because back then science was for the world. It wasn't a couple guys that hid away in a laboratory somewhere gave us some bullshit description about what energy and waves are and fields are and expect us to go with them, right? It was scientists were more in the public eye. People knew who they were. Scientists were coming out from everywhere, all around the world, all making inventions, and inventions were open. If you look, we had all these towers back then that had copper, right? They had bells because vibration is good for you. It's healing, right? The bells were healing. We know that vibrational energy heals you. We know this, right? So they were using that back then. The streets were lit up. They had street lights. It's the 1800s. They were flying around in blimps, okay? So we were very advanced and we were taking off. It was only when they wanted to control it and sell you electricity and sell you these things that we have taken a dive, because back then we were expanding, we were growing, we were taking off. The last 70 years, we just stopped after World War II. Our science, we have virtual reality back then. It's taken it 70 years for it to come out now, right? So we just hit like this wall because we were advancing, because science wasn't hidden from the public. It was, everybody was interested in this. Everybody was working together on it. And that's what we need to do again. We need to work together. We need to realize that we weren't told all the truth. And we need to realize that we're learning these systems in place in school that are preset for us and that are very complicated for people to understand. When we can make things very simple, we know that hydrogen is the main element and everything stems off of it, right? You know, I'm telling you how light is. We know the magnetic field, the dielectric field, but you're not taught any of that in school, right? You're taught what they want. They don't ever teach you that there could be a world without electrons. Now, they say if we didn't have electrons, that there wouldn't be people, there wouldn't be all this diversity. But they're back in the 1800s when our science was taking off. Heaviside, Steinmetz, Tesla, they all didn't believe in electrons, okay? Because they knew how light really worked. And I think I'm going to go with the people that created electricity over some people today that are where our science has declined, right? And they're charging us for electricity when back then it was being given. If you look, it was just being given. It was made. They were making buildings. They were lighting up the streets for free. Nobody was being charged for this stuff, right? And this is something we need to get to today. There is no reason that our electric bill should be rising when we know how simple it is to make electricity. We know how the world works. We know that everything is vibration. We know that in the beginning there was the word, right? We know that everything runs off of the magnetic dielectric field and the vibrations that come from it, right? And I also want to tell you about some healing, right? Like I said, vibrations can be healing. Look into this. Look into using bells. Look into using sounds. Look into using your voice. Oh, crap, I hit my mic, sorry. Look into using your voice, look up to making vibrations. There are things that are healing. You listen to vibrations at certain frequencies, certain megahertz. It does certain things. It can give you certain emotions. It can give you love, happiness. You ever put on a song? You can put a song that makes you reminiscent about the past, makes you miss it, like nostalgic. Or you can listen to something that makes you happy, or you can listen to something that makes you sad. So that right there should be proof right there that you know that vibrations is how things are controlled. It's how our emotions are controlled. Because if you put something sad on a sad sounding music, you will feel the heaviness. You put something dark and heavy in music, you will feel it. You put something happy and uplifting, you will feel it. What are those? Those are vibrations coming your way. That is vibrations coming your way that you are absorbing, you are taking in, you are receiving, because it's like recognition. You are the one taking in information from the surroundings around you, right? So that those waves are coming in, you're taking in. So if you take in positive things, you're going to project positive things. Your life is going to be positive. Same way it will work for negative, right? So you want positive vibrations coming your way. You want everything running on positive vibrations, right? Like they say, high frequency. It's not always just high frequency. You can find low frequencies that'll heal you in certain ways, right? We know this, right? So do some more research, learn about vibration, right? Look into what I'm telling you about magnetism. Don't forget to comment below, because I love comments. I want to respond to you guys. I want you to tell me what you think. I want you to tell me what you like. Are you enjoying this? What can I do differently? I want to know. Am I an asshole? Tell me. Tell me these things, And we're going to keep learning. We're going to keep pushing this together, because more and more people need to wake up, right? We're in this process of waking up. This is the age of Aquarius. This is the age of the waters of life, baby. And we are waking up, and we are coming back. We are taking over. We are taking back what's good for ours. We're taking back our planet, what is good for us. We want healthy water. We want healthy plants. We want we want good medicine. We want, free electricity. We want things that improve humanity. We're tired of being taken down in a slave mentality. We're tired of that. We want to be treated well. We want to do good for all of us together, because community is important. Being together is very important. Having love is very important. And that's all I want to spread is love and knowledge and wisdom, and get our world to a better place here on the DNaz channel. You guys have a good day, and we'll see you next time. Like and subscribe, comment below. Peace.